The Utah Jazz get well. I mean, really well. Like really, 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 really well against the Indiana Pacers in a massive blowout. 152-128. We're talking about it on POSTCAST. David Locke, along with Ron Boone, with you tonight as the Utah Jazz blow out the Indiana Pacers. The 152 points is the fifth time in the regulation game the Jazz have scored 150 points. It is 2 points off the all-time record of 154. So it is the second most points the Jazz have ever scored in a regulation game in franchise history, which means everyone's got a stat line they can text home about tonight. It was a lot of fun. I would say that while the game was still going on in the first half, Ace Bailey stole the show. He was the Jazz scoring leader at the half. Tonight, Ace Bailey had 17 on 6 of 8 shooting. That's where most of the fans want to start. That's where we're going to start every night. Everything we saw in the preseason, everything we saw in the brief summer league game he played, everything you and I saw when we went to practices showed up tonight in different little spots. He still makes defensive mistakes. He's not perfect. Let's not get you, but it's all there, Ron. There is just a load of talent in this.
So you said 17 win? Because he had 20
points. 17 at the half. He was 6 of 8 shooting at the half.
Yeah. He is so talented. And now that minutes on the floor, and maybe the game is changing a little bit for him because he's, I mean, how long does it take you to figure things out? And I think he's starting to get there. That move he had on the baseline there where was just a practice, like things you practice and you're working on it. Selling the drive and step back and knock down and shoot the basketball. That was
I haven't seen anyone really be able to stay in front of him yet. When he puts it on the floor, he's going to get better. He gets off balance a little bit. But I haven't seen him really stay in front of him when he wants to put it on the floor. What I have seen is a bunch of times he drives the basket and he has no idea how fast he's getting the basket. And he has no idea about the secondary defender and he's not reading anything at all. That's fine. And then he gets caught. So he's driving right baseline. Pascal Siakam has to jump to beat him to the baseline. So and Ace stops, back up dribble, 2 backup dribbles on a cross back behind the 3-point line, and then garners the balance to be able to rise for the jumper and hit. So I have never done anything like that in my life. So can you please explain a few things to me here, Ron? Well, first is, how hard is it to go hard enough to get a defender to believe you're going to the basket to have to cut you off, to stop and go backwards?
Well, I think you can say you haven't seen anyone that young make that move.
No, I didn't say I hadn't seen anyone ever make the move. I said I have never made that move.
Oh.
I have no idea what that is like. I was discussing my own physical prowess. Thank you. I appreciate that. How hard is it to be going hard enough forward? We saw out of Ant a bunch of times last night, right? That a guy has to believe you, and then you're able to back up. So that's the first question. How hard is it to do that?
First, it's hard if you've never done it before, if you've never worked on it before, if you just experimented with in a game and you've never worked on it before. But these are moves that they practice all the time. And the key is to sell the drive. I mean, very hard. You put your head down or whatever, 2 hard dribbles to the middle of the floor or to the baseline or whatever. And all you need to do is get the defender to back up, and then you're backing up. Now, how much space does he have to do to catch up with you? And you're 6'9", and you can't block the shot.
I'm only good at sports where gravity takes me down, so I don't understand this backing up concept. Second question on this: how hard is it to get balanced enough to then make a shot out of that?
Well, I'm not saying it's hard.
Okay.
But it's something, again.
I don't see a lot of guys do it.
But if you just work on those things and it happens, James Harden does it, but it's not, he doesn't sell his dribble drive like Ace just did then. I mean, he sold that, and Siakam was like 2 steps back, and then Bailey takes 2 steps back, and all of a sudden you got 3 feet between the two.
Right. And Ace came in shooting, I think, about 17% from 3.
Yeah.
So the fact that he made a bunch of 3-point shots tonight was a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, this is the key. I mean, and I'm sure guys look at the stat sheet, they look at their numbers and everything, and I saw New York.
Yeah.
Player on the bench looking at the stat sheet. I mean, they know.
Jordan Clarkson ripped it out of Josh Hart's hand.
That's who it was. Yeah. But so they know. So the thing is you can't play the stat sheet. You just got to play your game, and eventually you're going to have one of those nights, or you're going to have one of those weeks, or a couple of weeks, or whatever, to where everything is falling into place, and you get that field goal percentage up. But the key is you got to get some layups.
Yeah,
you got to get some mid-range shots in the post in the lane there from 10 feet away or 5 feet away or something like that.
I'm going to go with the layups. I'm not going to go with the mid-range shots. I'm actually nervous that he played too many mid-range shots.
Well, you don't have to get too many. What about Markkanen?
Well, he's unique in the way he does
very
things.
Unique, right?
But I also think Ace is active enough that he's getting 1 or 2 backdoor cuts a night. He's getting 1 or 2 fast breaks a night. Like he's going to score 20 because the way you score 20 is you go get 2 backdoor cuts for 4. You get a fast break layup for 6. You get fouled for 3 times, and you get 5 there. And now all of a sudden, then you hit 2 threes, and you hit 2 other buckets, and now you got 20.
If you're a talented player and you're good,
yeah,
all you need is 7 field goals.
Yep.
In 30 minutes.
Yep.
Safe, and you can get 20 points easy.
Maybe I could average 20.
Huh?
Maybe if my prowess, I could average 20.
No problem.
Why do you belittle scoring 20? You scored 20 your whole life and made like a pretty good career out of it. It's a pretty big deal to score 20. Isaiah Collier, game was Jazz led by 3 at the end of 1. They led by 4 at the end of 1. They led by 13 at the half, and then they blew the game open in the third. Keontae picked up his 4th foul. There was kind of a feeling, or 5th foul in the third quarter. There's a little bit of a question like, what happens next? Well, what happened next was Isaiah Collier came in the game and just ignited the game and set a blowtorch to the Jazz offense in a good way.
And I was wondering about that because I knew I was going to ask you this question, because when he came in the ball game, I can't remember what the score was. I'm sure we were
up, but we weren't up 27.
We weren't up very much.
Yeah.
And then that's when everything accelerated, because it starts scoring earlier in the clock. And Isaiah Collier, not only was he pushing the ball at the floor, but he was pushing the ball at the floor and scoring and getting some layups and things like that. He had an excellent night there as well. 5 for 6 in 26 minutes, 14 points, 11 assists. How about 2 turnovers? And that's it.
Yeah, I mean, the turn, and one of them was he was running a fast break and lost control of the dribble, and they had to use a review to get the call right. No, I think it's neat. I mean, obviously, at some point, he's got to be able to make shots, but what I thought was interesting is how powerful he was going to the basket. There was a drive where he got up higher than I remember him getting up for and used his power to get there. Last year, my feeling was he used his power, but he didn't have any lift after he used his power. He would lower his shoulder into you, and then he didn't have the ability to get up and out of it, and he came up and out of it tonight. And if he can really rim finish with that type of driving, that's going to be a really valuable thing. It was interesting talking in postgame about how hard he worked and what kind of great shape he thought he was in before he had the hamstring problem.
Yeah, well, he's a lot stronger there too. So those bumps that he's dishing out, going to the rim to score some layups, I mean, he's much stronger. My question though is watching the Jazz play tonight, and maybe it was the Pacers' style that brought the strength of the Jazz out tonight, because playing at that pace, I think, has just helped so many players on the team. Not just a couple of guys; it helped a lot more guys to be better offensive players.
Do you think they can replicate this?
I don't know if they need to play as fast, but they need to play with a different pace. And if they do that, you'll find that 8-9 guys get more involved in the game.
They need that. You can't rely on Lowry the way we did the opening week of the season. That's too much. I am really pleased because I like these guys, and so I'm rooting for them. And I was really concerned, frankly, at one point or two in the road trip. It was too early in the season to get too concerned. But Bryce was not playing, and Kyle was regressing and getting benched. Mm-hmm. And I think both of them have put really strong efforts on the floor the last 2 games.
Yeah. It's like they've been spending a lot of time with the coach, watching film, getting chewed out. And now I understand. If I'm out there 10, 12 minutes, I'm giving it everything I have. And it's not necessarily where I have to score all the time. Be better, make your teammates better.
Both of them, and I hope they don't mind me saying this. Well, I mean, I think it's true. I don't think I'm lying. Are deficient in quickness. I think that's fair, right?
Foot speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they've got to learn how to fight through that. I go back to a Will on all three of these guys, Sensabaugh, Filipowski, Collier. I go back to a Will Hardy quote last year in the press conference. Will Hardy basically said, "You've got to make sure your weaknesses are not so bad that they derail everything we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be so bad offensively, we can't run plays because you're on the floor. You can't be so bad defensively, you can't run a scheme." And if what we're watching out of, I think Isaiah and Kyle and Flip and Sensabaugh is trying to figure out how to negate their weaknesses enough so their strength can shine, because they all have great strengths. That's why they're here. So can they negate their weaknesses enough so their strengths shine? And I think we've seen progress. Particularly, I just think Bryce and Kyle have really played hard the last few nights.
Well, to add to that, or to you can get better at your weaknesses.
Yeah,
and I mean, you might not. I mean, if you're slow of foot, how do you get better or faster? Drills. There's some drills and everything, but I don't think you can.
Right.
Yeah. You have to understand what I mean.
Right. You're not going to become Usain Bolt tomorrow.
Right.
By the way, Lowry scored 35. We haven't mentioned his name, and we're 12 minutes into the show. Kind of feel bad about that.
13 for 19, 5 for 7 from the 3-point line.
We really shouldn't just forget about that. He kind of scored 17 in the third quarter. We haven't mentioned it yet. I kind of feel that's like a disrespect to the greatness of Lowry Markkanen.
Well, it's been a few guys that have been struggling to the point where they had a good night, and so bring it up.
All right, Jazz no trombone.
I think I was thinking about this, and you look at the plus minuses out there on the floor, David. I don't see any.
They're negative?
One.
Are you just
going with Keontae was the only one.
Are you just going to go the whole board? Give every single person?
I don't think we need to go the whole board, but it would be nice.
I mean, you could.
Yeah.
It'd be really rude if you singled out like one or two players. They scored 152 points and they won by 24.
We might, yes. Let's go the whole board, because I don't. There's no. Keontae is the only one with a negative.
Yeah. All right, whole board tonight. That wraps up POSTCAST before Ron makes a bad decision. I'm here to support him. Have a great night, everybody. I'll talk to you tomorrow.